and is shocked to see a strange man lying next to her. Recalling that the bottle of wine she helped her good friend Emma drink last night was problematic, Sophia then grabbed her clothes and hurriedly ran out of the room, accidentally dropping one of Emma's IDs in the middle of the process. John picked it up from the floor and mistook it as a clue to finding Sophia, explaining his subordinates to find Emma. At home, Emma is packing her bags and preparing to move out. Emma proudly told Sophia that she is going to marry into a rich family, and then dragged her bags away. Sophia's leader offers her to work for the big boss as a private secretary. Seeing Sophia's disagreement, Sophia gladly accepts the offer after the leader offers her a hefty raise. After coming to the new working environment, Sophia recognized John as the man from the other day. John's remark, "Haven't we met before?" made Sophia's cup slip out of her hand without holding it firmly. John took Sophia's hand and asked if she was hurt, but Sophia quickly withdrew her hand as if she had been electrocuted. At John's home, Emma sat on the couch full of depression. These days, she always looked forward to seeing John, but every time it was not. She thought that after so many days, she couldn't even see John's shadow, so she had to think of a way to meet with him. Inside the office, John looked at the necklace in his hand and always felt that Sophia gave him a familiar feeling. At this time, Emma came to see John. John asked for details of why he was able to sleep that night, as he has a severe sleep disorder and has great difficulty falling asleep. John says he remembers the scent from back then, and Emma immediately pulls out the scent capsule Sophia gave her and gives it to John to smell, but the effect is minimal. John asks what exactly is in the scent capsule, and Emma can't tell him, only that it's calming herbs, and John tells her to leave. John was puzzled that Emma didn't react to the sight of the necklace when Sophia happened to pass by the door, being instructed by John to adjust the books on the shelf. Sophia almost fell when she couldn't keep her footing, but John caught her in time. Emma arrives at Sophia's house to ask her to keep making a few more scented pouches for her, and although Sophia is puzzled, she tells the pouches what's inside. Emma fell asleep on the couch when her cell phone rang, and Sophia reminded her to answer it. When Sophia touches Emma's phone, she suddenly wakes up and tells Sophia not to move her things. Sophia doesn't mind and continues to make a scented bag. John's subordinate hands over the acquired hotel surveillance video to John for review, and the video loses a section at the most critical moment. On the other hand, Emma proudly looked at the video in her tablet and sipped her red wine, saying that it was lucky that she was one step ahead to dispose of the surveillance video, and Sophia didn't deserve to be with John. Inside the office, John is resting his eyes on the sofa. Sophia comes to deliver hot tea, sees the necklace in John's shirt pocket, wants to take it back, and is about to reach out and touch it when John catches it. John opens his eyes but realizes that the hand he is holding is that of his subordinate, who claims to have come over to tuck him in. They are looking for a powerful hypnotist to treat John's sleep disorder. Sophia is chatting with her online friends, but she puts down her cell phone in a depressed manner. In the corridor of the company, Sophia bumped into John and earnestly told him about a few herbs and their effects, claiming that they were good for his health. The two of them get very close to each other during the conversation, and this scene is just caught by Emma, who is passing by. Emma's face instantly darkened, her eyes filled with jealousy and resentment. Inside the office, Sophia took John's pulse, and John teased Sophia about her health at such a young age. At this time, Sophia answered a phone call, and what came out of the receiver made her eyes widen, shock written all over her face. Sophia arrives downstairs, and Emma hides and watches as a group of people vociferously tell Sophia to get out of the office, and someone throws an unknown liquid at Sophia, which is blocked by John, who arrives. John recognizes Sophia from Sophia's response as his close online friend. In the company, John's good friend David came to see him. David joked that John liked girls like Sophia. Looking at the way John looked at Sophia, John then showed a knowing expression, the corners of his mouth hooked up with an imperceptible light smile. Today is Sophia's birthday. David specially bought Sophia a beautiful cake to celebrate. Sophia wondered how David knew about her birthday. Looking at Sophia's puzzled eyes, David understood that Sophia didn't recognize him. After making the wish, John called and told Sophia to go back to work right away. Sophia hung up the phone full of apologies and looked at David, hurriedly leaving. Inside the office, John is resting with his eyes closed and Sophia is about to pretend to hit him when she thinks he is asleep. David called Sophia was refused by John and asked Sophia to read to him. Sophia reads for a while and then slowly falls asleep on John's shoulder. David told John that he was taking Sophia out, and Sophia happily told John that she was off work. John told Sophia to read a book and asked Sophia to go to dinner with him. Sophia asked his male assistant to accompany him to eat, just as the male assistant walked in and said that there was a new restaurant nearby that tasted very good, and asked John if he wanted to go and try it. John was unhappy and left. Sophia felt that John was deliberately trying to make things difficult for her, and felt that David had a better personality in comparison. Sophia complained to her online friend about her boss, John, but the friend said that the boss might be doing this because he likes you. Sophia casually picks up John's tablet and sees that it records her birthdays and favorite foods. Sophia thinks it's strange, but inside, she still has a sweet taste in her mouth. Inside the restaurant, John looks at his cell phone and smiles. The male assistant is confused. Sophia sits down and takes a sip of yogurt and is told by the male assistant that it belongs to John, the owner. Sophia is horrified and has to get a waiter to go get John a different cup, not realizing that John doesn't mind picking up that cup and taking a sip. The male assistant smiles and leaves. Sophia tugged on John's sleeve and asked if John was still angry and what she would have to do to make John feel better. John moves Sophia's chair over to the closest position against him and tells her that this distance will be her position from now on. Sophia holds up a drunk John and spits on his drinking. John kissed Sophia under the streetlight. Emma saw the software updates Sophia had posted and knew that her relationship with John had progressed significantly. With a serious expression on her face, Emma thought to herself that she couldn't let Sophia steal John, and then plotted something alone. In the company, John and Sophia met in the aisle. The two sweetly smiled at each other. Suddenly, everyone receives a gossip message on their cell phones. The message says that John has a fiancée. John sees the message and quickly walks towards Sophia to explain to her, but Sophia turns around to hold back her tears and leaves. John told his subordinates not to investigate because he knew who it was. John returned home and confronted Emma. Emma tried to deny it, but in the end she had to say that it was because John never came home, and that was all she could do. John shook off her hand and left. Emma immediately went up to John and hugged him, but he shook her off, and Emma could only watch him leave. David recalled the first time he met Sophia. As a new writer, David was not yet famous and suffered a lot of blows, but he was only treated gently by Sophia. Facing John, David admitted to having special feelings for Sophia. John yanked Sophia over, and she fell into his arms. John asks her what she wanted to tell him that day, and Sophia remembers that John already has a fiancé and tells John that it doesn't matter anymore. Getting up and about to leave, she was pulled back again. Sophia denied liking John. Downstairs, Sophia was verbally attacked by a bunch of fans, and some extreme ones even pushed Sophia down. John ran over and helped Sophia up, warning the fans not to go too far. He was the one who liked Sophia. If they started any more rumors and attacks on Sophia, they would pay the price. Sophia thought of the fact that he already had a fiancée and hurriedly struggled out of his embrace to escape. The male assistant tells Sophia to check on John, who is in a bad state of mind. In a moment of weakness, Sophia goes in to see John, who takes her in his arms, and he soon falls asleep. Sophia looked at her lost necklace that had been kept close to John and recalled the scene where she had hypnotized him earlier, having accidentally left it behind at that time. Sophia tucked him in and handed the resignation letter to the male assistant to pass on to John. With one last look at John, he took the necklace and left. Waking up, John realizes the necklace is gone and reacts to the fact that Sophia took it. On the side of the road at night, Sophia has had several bottles of wine and is already a little drunk. A man with bad intentions comes over to harass Sophia and is kicked away by John, who arrives. John was afraid that Sophia would be cold, so he put a scarf around her and spoke softly to her. John wanted to take Sophia away, but Sophia said John was a bad man and would not go back with him. At this time the sky was snowing and the scenery was beautiful. Sophia was happily playing with the snow and spinning in circles, and John was happy to watch. When Sophia almost fell, John caught her and they looked at each other and kissed. David came over to separate the two and warned John to stay away from Sophia, as he was in an inappropriate position. John goes to Emma, who intimately goes to take John's hand and is shrugged off. Undeterred, she tries to seduce John. John confronts her about what's in the ingredients inside the bomb, and Sophia had told her once, so she was able to answer easily. John isn't convinced and gets up to leave. Emma smugly stated that it was a good thing she was prepared. She would never let Sophia steal John. Sophia goes to the hospital to be told she is pregnant and feels the father of the baby has a right to know about it as well and goes to see John. John returned the resignation letter to Sophia and David came over and confessed his feelings directly to Sophia. Embarrassed, Sophia made an excuse to leave and John questioned David about what he meant. Sophia looks at the cute little girl in the drink store and involuntarily smiles. The little girl didn't stand still and was about to fall. Sophia caught the little girl and hurt her hand a little. John sees this and rushes up to check Sophia's hand. Sophia asked John if he liked children and John said no. Sophia also felt that John, who likes to be quiet, shouldn't be able to accept this child either, so she didn't say anything further. Netflix messaged her to ask how her hand was doing, and Sophia wondered how he knew. Emma came to Sophia's room and found Sophia's pregnancy test. Emma came to John's room right after. John was sure that it was not Emma at all, but Emma told John to take it easy, have a drink first, and then she would explain to him. John feels dizzy after drinking the wine, but it turns out that Emma has drugged the wine, and Emma is desperate for John. The two lay on the bed, and Emma took a selfie of them with her cell phone, leaving a photo of them in bed. She then takes John's phone and sends a message to Sophia, who sees that her online friend has asked her to meet him and prepares for the appointment. On the other hand, John woke up and kept pushing Emma away, warning Emma not to appear in front of him again. When she arrives at the appointment, she sees Emma, who tells Sophia that her online friend is John, but that they've been together for a while and have had sex. Sophia thinks she's been tricked into making a fool out of herself and can't take the shock, but faints on the floor. Filled with rage and believing that David had conspired with Emma to set him up, John rushed up to David, swung his fist up, and punched him hard, and tells David he won't give up on Sophia. David staggers from the punch, but doesn't put up much of a fight. At that moment, the male assistant came running in a panic, panting, and told John that Sophia was hospitalized. John instantly panicked and rushed to the hospital. Once in the hospital room, he eagerly asked Sophia where she was uncomfortable. The doctor followed, explaining that there wasn't much wrong. When the doctor leaves, Sophia brushes John off with a cold face. David arrives and knowingly goes along with Sophia, claiming to be Sophia's boyfriend. John leaves sadly. John tries to find Sophia through messages, and his subordinates come over and inform Sophia that she has left her job and has blacklisted them all. No matter how John searched for Sophia, he could not find Sophia. John's condition is getting worse and worse, and his sleep is even worse. At this moment, John's mind is full of Sophia's figure. The assistant and David and other people are very worried about John. Sophia joins a hospital as a psychiatrist happens to be in the same hospital as John. They claim to have found the heir to that master hypnotist, and it turns out the person who came was Emma. Emma claims that she is that heir, only she keeps a low profile and doesn't want to live her life with that aura. Sophia walks in, and Emma rips off her mask. Sophia claimed that the dean had sent her, and that if there was nothing else she would leave first, and was stopped by an assistant. Emma tried to hypnotize John but claimed she had forgotten her props. The assistant took them out of her pocket. Emma had to hypnotize John, but no matter what Emma did, she couldn't successfully hypnotize John and claimed that it was because Sophia was there that it affected her operation. Sophia can't watch anymore and has to take matters into her own hands to hypnotize John, who falls asleep in a flash. Emma, furious that Sophia is the one taking credit for her work, reaches out to hit her, and is sarcastically grabbed by Sophia's dangling hand, claiming that she didn't learn from her teacher when he taught her, and now it's no use at all. Waking up, John drags Sophia's hand and won't let her go, claiming that he'll accept the baby no matter whose it is. Emma walks in and tells them she's pregnant and to ask the doctor if they don't believe her. Sophia leaves disappointed. In front of the hospital, David tells Sophia not to blacklist his contact info. Emma posted the news that she was pregnant, and there was a lot of talk. Emma didn't think it was a big enough deal and decided to add fuel to the fire by spreading the news that Sophia was a third party, resulting in Sophia being pointed at as she walked down the street, and even called Sophia a third party in direct contempt. John woke up to find Sophia and was told that Sophia was in the middle of a cyber violence attack. The assistant and David were puzzled by the complexity of the relationship between the three of them, and then John told the assistant and David the circumstances of the matter, and determined that Sophia was the one he had been looking for all along. In the restaurant, Emma is driven away by the manager of the restaurant, despised by the waiters, and leaves the restaurant in disgrace. It turns out that everyone saw the clarification message on the internet and knew the truth of the matter, and now Emma becomes that street rat that everyone shouts at. Emma returned to John's house and found the assistant was directing people to organize her things out to throw away. Seeing this, Emma vowed to destroy what she could not get. During the packing process, the assistant got hold of one of Emma's flash drives. The assistant informs John that Sophia is about to leave the city, and upon hearing this news, John rushes off to find Sophia. Successfully finding Sophia dragging her suitcase, he explains to her that this is all a plot by Emma. Emma will be the hotel video bought away, but the evidence of that USB flash drive she did not destroy was found by the assistant. He thought that night was Emma, and that's why he wanted to take responsibility for her. John then got down on one knee and took out that ring that he had prepared for a long time and proposed to Sophia. The passers-by beside him were also coaxing Sophia to say yes to marry him. Sophia happily accepted John's proposal, and John picked Sophia up, and they kissed happily. Emma got someone to kidnap Sophia and poured gasoline on Sophia to throw the lighter over her. Luckily, John arrived in time to kick the lighter away and managed to save Sophia. John told his subordinates to call the police. At this point, Emma knew fear and pleaded with Sophia, who was so scared that she hugged John and cried bitterly. All the dust has settled, and the bad guys have been duly punished. John and Sophia organized a wedding and kissed sweetly. A year later, they took a group photo with their newborn baby. in which everyone was smiling happily.